Yo, what's poppin', Crew Nation? You already know who it is, what it is, and what we do, baby. It is your boy Jay, and today we are talking about Christian rappers versus NF's fans. This is a going theme within Christian hip hop. Most people say, hey, we don't care, like we don't hate NF, but his fans, they're a bit annoying. His fans, really quickly, if this is your first time to the Crewniverse, we talk about things in pop culture, mainstream culture, celebrity culture that in some way, shape, or form affects or have some correlation with Christian hip hop. Now, NF isn't exactly a Christian hip hop artist. Like, we all know that. However, he is very much a mainstream artist who was once a very vocal Christian hip-hop artist or Christian artist. Look no further than start over with Flame, right? Flame put him over, as they say in the wrestling business. But NF has since grown to be this mega star, this mega figure with a very devout and sometimes annoying fan base. And nobigdyl, along with Hovey, decided to publicly speak about this. Now, I said this in the beginning that this is, if you're in the spaces on Twitter, about once a week. I won't say once a week. They're not that obsessed, but maybe once every couple of weeks you'll see an artist or a member of the media or someone mention the fact that NF's fans are annoying. And this comes from the standpoint of NF fans believe that NF can do no wrong. And that's just annoying in any standpoint. And when you put certain people up on a pedestal, a lot of people are waiting on their downfall. Not saying that that's what these artists are doing or members of the media. I am just saying that in a general sense, when people are propped up, people like to see them knocked down a peg. That's where the term came from. People wanted that to happen because the people who propped you up, the people who have you there, are just that much a pain in my rear end that I must see the fall of your God. And this is kind of what Hovey was talking about. Like, man, you know, it gets scary when these fans attack people in the name of said artists.
Like, it can look really bad when it's just like, all hell, this guy, he's doing this for God. And then it's like, you got people that I know personally that do it for God, and they gonna come around and be like, you should be more like him. And it's like, he is setting his own stuff that he ain't really trying to get tied up in all that.
Like, that's just a weird place to be in. So these things bubble a lot within Christian hip hop. And nobigdyl, who's one of the prominent figures within Christian hip hop from an artist standpoint, he has a festival going on. The Indie Tribe Collective is a huge thing. You know, they have a bunch of fans. You know, he's one of the cool kids. He's the popular guy. He has connections to reach, like, you know, all the things that you need to be one of the more popular people within Christian hip hop. He has those qualities. And so nobigdyl said enough is enough, and he went live and he decided to say that his fans are very annoying. And as he was speaking to Hovey, he's like, look, if it was my fans, if it was your fans, we would go through and we would say something to these fans. But NF doesn't say anything. And Hovey's like, even if you don't know the people for which they're attacking, you need to at least tell your fans as a whole, because you know this is a common point within Christian hip hop. Go ahead and tell your fans to chill out. Like, they're doing too much. They're a bit extra. Now, I've seen this. If you just mention NF's name on Twitter, they start coming like roaches. Like just out of nowhere. Now both good and bad. Hey, look, I'm on this channel. I made several videos about NF. And I've done it because I know that his fans will watch it. Whether good, bad, or indifferent, they want to know what you are saying about NF. So I don't mind. I will make a video about NF. What? I like the support. I like that from the fan base. And I think that from an artist perspective, a lot of people look at it and they say, yo, that's wild that he has such a devout fan base. But because of the music for which he puts out, his fans are a bit unpredictable and they're a bit too much of a fan. But I think this comes from, fandom. See, within Christian hip hop, fandom is there. Fandom is it drives the music. It drives the celebrity culture within Christian hip hop. But people have enough wherewithal to be like, I'm not going to make this person an idol, right? There's only one God I serve, right? For the most part, that's kind of their stance on it. But with NF, not only does he have Christian hip hop fans, but he has fans that know nothing about Christian hip hop, that never knew him as a Christian artist. They just know him as this guy that speaks to my depression. NF. And these are the fans we are speaking on. They almost worship the ground he walks on. NF doesn't mind. I don't think NF really pays it attention as much. He doesn't interact with his fans that much on social media. It's kind of a game he has, being this mysterious guy. So I don't know if it bothers him, but I'm sure people have brought it to his attention. I'm sure people that he knows have kind of said, yo, NF, what's up? Yo, I love your music, man. It's going crazy, boy. Yo, fans, like, boy, they really support. They kind of, it ain't freaky, like, you know what I'm saying? Just a common conversation. And NF's probably like, yeah, not a great. But at some point, you have to take some responsibility. This is what No Big Deal and Hovey is speaking on. You have to take some responsibility and tell them, like, yo, don't do that. Don't claim you are a fan of mine, and yet you are doing this. I've seen plenty of people do this within the Christian hip hop space. I've seen plenty of people do this within the mainstream space. So it's not that far-fetched, or not that much of an ask, or not that far of an ask, not that great of an ask, to say that he should be able to be responsible enough to do that. And I believe No Big Deal definitely has a point. You have to be responsible for what you've created, even though you're just probably off in the corner just making your music, not really worried about much of what's going on. You're just fulfilling your contract because music is an outlet. You enjoy music. You love music. You have to, the way that they act when you post, you should already know. The way they act when you release, you should already know it's a bit crazy. It's dope. These are levels that a lot of Christian hip hop artists will never see. So not only did you break through the mode of being an independent artist, you broke through the mode of being a Christian hip hop artist, right? Like the double whammy, and you are a huge mainstream success story now. Like, all we ask is that they just, all they're asking is just get them to chill out. And whether or not they listen, that's different. But I think that it'll be a bit better if they were able to see that you heard it, and then again, or that you see it and that you notice it. But then again, your voice is so important to your fans that if you did actually say that, maybe they'd listen. It is a bit weird. It is a bit off-putting. But as far as NF the person, no one is upset at him, as said multiple times within their live, as said multiple times here. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's wild. It's crazy. But Why don't you all let me know what you all think? Are his fans a bit too much? If there are any NF fans watching this video at this current moment, why don't you all drop the response of to why it's like that? No big deal. Also, we really hammered in on the double standard on how it is different between Cray, who also had mainstream success. We have the exclusive interview with him. Y'all can go and watch that today on this channel. We asked him all kinds of questions about his success and the dangers of getting mainstream success. The GOAT of Christian hip hop. Y'all can go and watch that interview. But there's a huge difference, or a major difference, between the way fans or people, actually Christian hip hop in general, reacts to Lecrae versus NF.
This was, unless you're just putting your head in the sand, you understand that there's a double standard between artists like Cray and artists like NF in how people defend them, in how people nobody disparages NF, but like how they disparage artists like Cray, how they question them, how they tell them to stick to the gospel, how they tell them to you've lost your way, all this stuff. And that doesn't happen to somebody who literally distances as much as possible and will not be specific about the basics of our faith in anything, music, interviews, anything. Again, I have no problem with that approach, but there's clearly a hypocrisy. And my question is, why? Why is NF treated that way and Cray is treated a completely different way? And somebody on here said, I wonder what could be the difference between Lecrae and NF. I'm leaving that to y'all.
Especially at this peak that NF is at right now, and what NF is doing at this current time, the response to what he's doing has been noticeably different. And why is that? It's because he's black! You already know who it is, what it is, and what we do, baby. It's your boy Jay, and it's on.